It didn't happen with yelling. It happened in silence. A text left on read. A promise broken with a shrug. A hug that felt like a lie in slow motion. One moment, you were trusting. The next, you were recalibrating. And the worst part, you saw it coming. Not in their words, but in the way their eyes avoided yours like you were a receipt they never wanted to itemize. That's when you realized betrayal isn't always a knife. Sometimes it's a slow leak in the foundation while you're still living in the house. And when it finally collapses, you're not surprised. You're just tired of pretending. The walls weren't leaning, but here's what they didn't expect. You didn't scream. You didn't post. You didn't beg for answers or show up at their door with tears and truth. You just disappeared. Not physically, spiritually, emotionally. You stepped back like a general surveying the battlefield, and for the first time, you saw the whole map. Who stood with you, who watched you bleed, who laughed after the lights went out. And in that silence, something shifted. Not anger, clarity. Because the loudest revolutions don't start with riots. They start with a decision made in the dark. I will not be this version of me anymore. So you didn't fight back. You fought forward. You didn't throw stones. You built walls. Not out of hate, but out of necessity. You upgraded your standards like software no longer compatible with chaos. You turned your calendar into a VIP list, and suddenly, access wasn't guaranteed, it was earned. You stopped measuring loyalty by words, and started measuring it by consistency. By presence, by who showed up when your name wasn't trending. And that's when the real power began. Not in revenge, but in removal. You didn't need to expose them. You just needed to outgrow the room they poisoned, because real revenge isn't loud. Real revenge is peace. It's waking up without checking their socials. It's laughing without remembering their jokes. It's building a life so solid, so unshakable, that their betrayal becomes a footnote, not the whole story. They wanted you broken. You showed up whole. And worse for them, you looked better, lighter, calmer, like you'd been on vacation while they were in therapy. That's when it hit them. You weren't healing. You were evolving. And evolution doesn't apologize. It ascends. Now they keep looking for the old you. The one who cared too much. The one who forgave too fast. The one who stayed too long. They send signals, vague posts, mutual friends, hey stranger DMs at 2 a.m. But that version of you retired, jersey hung up. No farewell tour, no reunion. That person died the moment they realized love shouldn't feel like begging, and the new you doesn't play pickup games with people who foul on purpose. You don't prove your worth anymore. You just live it, quietly, consistently, undeniably, and that calm, that's not weakness. That's warfare. Calm is what happens when you've already fought the war inside and won. It's the discipline to smile when your mouth remembers shrapnel. It's the strength to breathe when the room is full of smoke. Calm isn't passive. It's armed. It's the quiet audit of every room you enter, every word you hear, every motive you sense. You don't need to react because you've already anticipated. You don't need to explain because your results speak in full sentences, and your silence, that's not emptiness, it's curation. You've installed a concierge in your soul, and it hands out key cards only to purpose, progress, and peace. Now when you walk into a room, something shifts, not because you're loud, because you're undeniable. Their eyes do cardio. They look everywhere but your face, searching for a safe wall, a neutral topic, anything to avoid the mirror you've become. Because you're not just healed, you're upgraded. And in your presence their excuses wilt like flowers in a drought. Their alibis crack under the weight of your stillness. They wanted you to chase closure. Instead, you became it. Doors close around you now like automatic systems recognizing a VIP. No drama, no explanation, just evolution in motion. And the best part, you didn't need an audience. You leveled up off camera, let the credits roll in silence, and premiered the sequel at brunch. No fanfare, no manifesto, just a new rhythm, a new standard, a new life. People think strength is screaming. Sometimes it's not answering the phone. Sometimes it's letting the lie die on voicemail. Sometimes it's smiling like a sunrise no window can contain. That's your daily discipline now. Joy with a backbone, peace with perimeter, love with literacy. You stopped handing out access, like candy. Now, if it's not loyal, it's not on the plate. If it's not consistent, it's not in the calendar. If it's not reciprocal, it's not in the room. You don't negotiate with red flags. You ship them back. Signature required. And when a room expects you to dance for approval, you tip your hat and let the music learn your tempo. They'll call it arrogance. Let them. Every time your name rises, their excuses drown. Every time you breathe steady, their stories weaken. That's not revenge. That's gravity. Now they want redemption. They show up with rebranded apologies and refurbished halos, like a used car salesman with a fresh coat of wax. You nod politely. Then you consult the policy that saved your life. No discounts, no returns, no exceptions. Redemption exists, sure. But it doesn't live at your address anymore. You run a luxury brand now. No seasonal sales, no loyalty points for past damage. If they wanted forgiveness with benefits, they should have married honesty when they had the chance. And still, you don't hate them. You don't even think about them long enough to hate them. You've mastered the rarest form of distance. Internal. You can stand 3 feet away and still be continents apart. Your peace isn't a mood, it's infrastructure. You replaced trigger wires with fiber optics. You upgraded your boundaries from please to policy. If access is a bridge, there's a toll, and a weight limit, and a background check. You started treating your life like a high-security vault. And suddenly, the thieves remembered. They're not locksmiths. Keys revoked. Cameras everywhere. Internal ones that catch micro-flinches and motive leaks. You don't block people. You firewall them. They can ping all day. The server doesn't respond. That's the new language. Uptime in the soul. Zero downtime for drama. And that's swagger? That's not attitude. It's architecture. It's how your spine learned geometry from pressure to how your stance became a theorem that proves itself. You're not unbothered. You're busy. Calendars with protein, routines with teeth, standards that keep getting taller. You don't chase closure. Doors close themselves around you. Now if they ask for a meeting, tell them to book with destiny. Your schedule is standing room only for purpose. They'll keep throwing subplots from the cheap seats, but your story doesn't take notes from spectators. The same mouths that handed you poison now want a taste of your peace. Look at that appetite. Swing. They want to rehearse apologies in your direction, but there's no stage. You dismantled the theater, sold the seats, and turned the spotlight into a grow lamp for your garden. That's why your harvest is disrespectful now, overflowing in a drought they forecasted. Your wind keeps showing up like, "We heard someone said it couldn't be done." Was that here? Do you hear it? That little click in the air when you enter. A lock sliding into place. Rooms behave. Time cooperates. Even chance minds its manners. Because when you survived betrayal without staining, your hands the universe noticed and upgraded your credit limit. Now blessings clear instantly, while their transactions decline for insufficient character. That's the price of admission. Honesty on file, loyalty verified, humility in stock. If they can't provide it, the door doesn't argue. It just stays closed. You didn't become colder. You refined the thermostat. You set the climate and kept your coat. Anyone shivering can bring their own warmth. You learned the holy difference between peace and quiet. Quiet is the absence of noise. Peace is the presence of order. You live in order now. Your mornings clock in. Your focus lifts weight. Your rest clocks out with a bonus. Meanwhile, their conscience keeps pulling the fire alarm at 3 a.m., and the only extinguisher is the truth they keep dodging. They ask, "Why won't you look back?" Because rearview mirrors weren't designed for royalty on foot. They were built for vehicles moving forward. You aren't nostalgic. You're necessary. Every step is a press release that never needs a caption. Your existence is the statement. Your excellence, the signature. Your serenity, the company seal. Anyone demanding an explanation is requesting a discount you don't offer. So keep the table set like this. Silverware made from former knives. Napkins pressed with patience. Crystal, glasses filled with clarity. Let the menu stay simple. Purpose as the entree, boundaries as the side, joy for dessert. And if they show up late with stories about growth, smile kindly and point to the sign outside your spirit. Kitchen closed to the public. Private tasting for those who never stole. Damn, you ate that betrayal like a gangsta. And now the recipe is patented. Let the imitators read the ingredients and still miss the technique. You season with silence. You simmer with discipline. You serve results. Scorching. And when they can't look you in the eye. That's not fear. It's reflection. They're finally seeing what you saw first. You were never what they did to you. You were what you did with it.